Hey everyone, so for today's video we are talking about a bunch of products that I love from Credo. Credo is having their friends and family sale. They have like 20% off of everything on their site. So I wanted to come on here and share with you guys my recommendations for the sale. A lot of these products are like staple products for me, so they're standby products that I've loved for a really long time. But I also have a couple of newer items that I've been trying out that I really like. They have some brands that I usually can't find at other retailers. For example, they have Rituelle, which is one of my favorite brands out there. They also have Weis, which is another brand that I've been kind of obsessed with. I will have the dates of the sale listed right here and down below. All right, so my first recommendation is a formula that I absolutely adore. And they are, I mean, if you can't tell, they are the Rituelle Fille Ash and Ember Eye Soots. So I first tried this out couple of years ago now at least, and it was one of the first kind of cream shadow products that I tried that I really fell in love with. If you can believe it, I used to not be a like eyeshadow person because powder eyeshadows just made my eyelids look dry. I always felt like the quality of my eyelids looked worse, and this was one of the first products that I felt like it just clicked for me. So they're called the Ash and Ember Eye Soots because they have a really interesting formula. It's more of like a pigment mixed with an oil to form this kind of sooty texture, but once they're applied to the lids, that sooty kind of quality, it like melts into the skin and just gives you this gorgeous undone like smoky effect. Your eyelids don't look weighed down with product, and that was again that first thing that I really enjoyed about them. But I also adore the shades. The shades are so unique. The first shade that I ever picked up was the shade Half Light, and it's this gorgeous taupey color. This was the first one that I really fell in love with, and maybe might even still be my favorite. I don't know, that's kind of hard now that I've like tried multiple shades. It becomes more and more difficult for me to pick a favorite, but this is certainly the one I've used the most. It's a gorgeous, just everyday kind of eyeshadow shade, and when it goes onto the lids, it really melts into the skin to give you that very like model off duty, smudged, smoldery, beautifully creamy eye look. The next two shades I picked up were the shades Golden Age and Love Spell, and Golden Age is absolutely stunning too. It's this beautiful vintage gold. It's like a cool toned gold shade, and that to me is very, just really, really unique. And on the eyes, again, it has that kind of transformative quality, just reflects back in such a beautifully creamy way. And Love Spell is absolutely gorgeous. A shade that I feel like a lot of people will really love. Just a beautiful, warm, kind of coppery shade. But every shade is just a little bit different. They tweak it in such a way that it makes it difficult to just find in any other makeup line. I just find them to be very unique. And then Rituelle Fille sent me these two. So they sent me Exuviae as well as Anima. And those are the two shades that I have on my eyes today. So I used Anima on the, Anima? Is that how you say it? I used it on the inner portion of my eye. It's just such a gorgeous, soft pink shade that's not too icy, but it still has a really pretty reflect to it. And then I put Exuviae onto the outer corners of my eyes, and this shade is very much up my alley. Application wise, it is so crucial because these do have a very small opening on the top. It's crucial that you use the right brush. So you can use a fluffier brush to kind of put the product into the crease and get more of like a washed out kind of look, which is very pretty in and of itself, but I prefer a dense kind of pencil brush like this. This is my Sephora Pro 18 brush. This is like a holy grail brush for me. You could also go for something like the Rare Beauty liquid shadow brush. You just need a more dense brush with shorter bristles to them, and that way you'll be able to kind of build up that pigment. I think this brush is really the way to go, but yeah, they're just gorgeous colors that are so beautiful and fun to play with, and definitely one of my favorite like hybrid formulas for sure. I'm gonna talk about more Rituelle de Fille in a second, but I need to talk about these blushes because I am kind of kicking myself that I didn't try them out sooner, because I am just so in love with this formula. So these are the cream blushes from Kjaer Weis. You can see I have the red packaging. I also have another one of them, this shade as well. You can just purchase the refills like I did for this shade, or you can buy them with the red, or you can purchase their like metals, like super luxe packaging for it as well. It's just going to be more expensive. So the Kjaer Weis blushes are one of the most fuss-free, elegant, creamy, just beautiful cream blushes that I've ever tried. They have such a perfect balance between having that beautiful creamy emollients without feeling super heavy on the cheeks. They're not overly dewy. They're way more of a natural finish. They adhere well to the skin, so they're not going to look patchy when you apply them. You can really apply them however you want to. So you can use more of a fluffy brush like this. This one is from Phytosurgeons. It's a brush I've really been liking. You can use your fingers, which I often do, but really any way you apply them, like they always look good. And for me, that's the sign of a really excellent product, a product that works with you, that always looks good on the skin. So I have 3 different shades. So the first 2 shades I picked up were the shades Joyful, which is such a beautiful coral shade. And then I got a free sample of Blossoming, which has become a favorite. As you can see, it's a little bit dirty, but this one has become a favorite too, just because it's such an easy, natural pink shade. Just goes with everything without being too boring. And I think my favorite shade, so I mixed Blossoming, like that's what's kind of on my cheeks right here, and then to kind of shape my cheeks, I added the shade Inner Glow. So this shade, Inner Glow, I love it. I just love it so, so much. It is the most beautiful taupey pink shade. Like it has such a beautiful, cooler, like touch of brown to it that makes it incredible for very softly shaping the cheeks. Like if you are someone that really wants to sculpt the skin, but you want something that's going to look uber natural, like if you have a similar skin tone to me, this I have found to be insanely gorgeous. I really have not found another shade like this. It's pretty remarkable. It also has such a gorgeous reflect to it that kind of makes the cheeks look sculpted, but also kind of like bigger. Like it adds such a gorgeous shape. I'm in love. They're beautiful. And I'm definitely going to pick up another shade during the sale. And one more Kjaer Weis product for now. I do have another one I'm mentioning later, but these are the cream eyeshadows. Actually, I only have one because I lost the other one. It was a sad day when I realized that I could not find the other shade. So I think I had the shade Alluring before, and that shade is awesome. Absolutely gorgeous. It's more of a taupey gold, which some of like my favorite eyeshadows are that color. So I'm just gonna have to pick it up again. But I also have the shade Gorgeous that I will demo for you guys. So this formula is pretty similar to the blushes actually. They like to stick to the skin, but they're still ultra blendable. I like them because they're not too slippy or emollient. These are almost like a cream version, like truly creamy cream version of the Ashen Ember Eye Soots, I feel like. Just give you such a beautiful smoldering look, and I just love the way they look on the eyes. They don't sacrifice the quality of the eyelids. They never look dry. They just give you such a gorgeous, very soft, reflective look. And the pigmentation on here is very even as well. No trouble blending. I think in the demo I just used my fingers, so really it's an easy time when you blend these out. Gorgeous. And I will be picking up more because I really enjoy that formula. By the way, this isn't like a crease resistant formula, so if you're looking for something super long wearing, this probably isn't the way to go. But if you're like me, if you don't mind a little bit of creasing, I think that this one is gorgeous. What should I talk about next? Okay, this is a new product that I am wearing today and that I have been trying out, and it's from Tower 28. It's the Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30 Tinted Sunscreen. So something to note is on the packaging it says it's a tinted sunscreen. Online it says it is a tinted sunscreen and foundation in one. So I'm going to go with what is online rather than just what's on the package. This is a non-nano zinc oxide sunscreen. It is 12.6% zinc oxide. I do really like that it's a mineral sunscreen with a bunch of different shades. This is the kind of shade range in a sunscreen or even a foundation that I'm looking for. And I like that it's non-nano zinc oxide as well, because non-nano zinc oxide will offer a broader spectrum of protection than nano zinc oxide. So I have two different shades here. I have the shade Larchmont and then the shade Melrose. I'm wearing the shade Larchmont today. Melrose is just a little too dark, just a touch too dark and too peachy. Also, something I wanted to mention that I thought was pretty cool about this, that online I read that this is the first and only complexion makeup product with the National Eczema Association Seal of Acceptance. I thought that that was kind of cool. I know it can be difficult for some people with eczema to find makeup products or sunscreen products. So obviously this is in this video because I recommend it. I have really been enjoying this product for a couple of reasons. One, I just love the finish of it. It gives you a really pretty natural to dewy finish, but I just find it to give my skin a really natural, kind of soft look. It has a bit of a softening quality to the skin, a very subtle touch of blur, and actually way more coverage than I was expecting, but not in a bad way. Like, it didn't feel like it was heavy coverage whatsoever. It still felt very natural. It has a good slip to it. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Kosas Tinted Face Oil, the way that that product kind of blends and kind of slips on the skin, but this one I prefer just because this is a little bit more emollient and less like super slippy. And I think something important to note is obviously you could use this as a foundation product if you wanted to. You could also use it as a sunscreen. Just make sure that you are using the proper amount. I think something that we're always concerned with foundation products, for example, with SPF added, is that when you use enough of it on the face, you're like, oh gosh, that's a lot, and it doesn't end up looking good on the skin. When I use the proper amount of this as a tinted sunscreen product, it still looks really nice on the skin. Will I probably use some of my other sunscreens as a base for this still? Probably. And then adding this on top is always a safe bet. And I like that this is going to be one of those products that's nice to reapply. Like, I really enjoyed putting it on and reapplying it. So I would say if you're even just looking for a skin tint kind of product to apply onto the skin very quickly in the morning, something that's going to look really fresh, this one is one that I would recommend. The only thing I don't like is sometimes it kind of collects in the corners of my nose a little bit, but this is a flexible product, so it's not something that's going to look drying there. You just have to kind of, you know, tap it out. It's just a really beautiful product. But again, if you plan on using these as a tinted moisturizer, just make sure you are using enough. I want to stress that. Another recommendation I have for you guys is this product from Westman Atilier. So this is their Lit Up Stick in the shade Nectar. As far as balm highlights go, to give you that like pretty glossy looking highlight, this one is my favorite because it's a clear balm, but you can see it has like a touch of a peach shift to it. It just gives it a little bit of that oomph that I think a product like this needs for me to want to reach for it over and over again. It's kind of like a step up from a regular clear balm kind of highlight. This one just gives, I'm wearing it today, it just gives your cheeks that juicy, beautiful, reflective shine. Your skin just looks awake and really pretty and dewy. Again, I think this shade is so pretty as well. It's going to look good on a lot of people because it's more of just a shift. It's just a touch of that beautiful peach. I mentioned it in my best no makeup product video. Westman Atelier is expensive, but I do think that this product is really beautiful and I would recommend it to those of you that do like that more dewy, balmy highlight. Quickly wanted to mention this product, which is a holy grail product for me. So if you guys are not aware, the Kosas Revealer Concealer is one of my favorite products, like period. It is one of the only concealers that I have found that manages to make my under eyes look healthy, hydrated, but concealed. And it's also a beautiful concealer because it has caffeine in it. So I find that it does kind of deep puff the areas under my eyes. It doesn't exaggerate the hollowness under my eyes, which is an issue that I've explained in the past. Being that I'm someone with dry, dark circles under my eyes that are also exaggerated by a hollowness, it's difficult for me to find concealers that can both flatten out that hollowness, kind of make the area look plumper, but also conceal and also look hydrating, because there's a lot of concealers that, you know, they give you full coverage and somehow it exaggerates the hollowness under my eyes so that it just somehow looks darker and it's less flattering. This concealer is one of the only concealers that I have found gives me everything. I've tried a lot, so when I say that this is one of my favorites, I mean it. And they also expanded the shade range, which is great. So the shade 1.5C I really like for like an everyday basis. The shade 1 is a little bit more yellow, so I'll use that for just brightening as well. Another Kosas product are their 10-second eyeshadows. I think that this formula is incredibly unique. This is a beautiful, beautiful formula, especially if you are someone that likes more lightweight makeup. This product doesn't really fuss with you either, just because it's such a thin liquid, it's really easy to blend out. And then they set down as well, they dry down, so it's not like a really rich emollient cream product or liquid product. I have the shade Copper Halo as well as the shade Globe. I think both of these are gorgeous shades. I feel like a lot of people talk about Globe. I can see why. It's a really pretty champagne shade. And I like that it still reflects back really prettily when it dries down as well. You aren't left with like a flat finish whatsoever. So if you've been interested in these, then maybe something to look into. Next, we have another product from Rituelle de Fille. This is the Rare Light Cream Luminizer in the shade Phosphene. I have also talked about this product before on my channel, and all right, so if you're someone that is kind of jaded by highlights, let me know if you know what I mean. I feel like a lot of highlight products aren't doing enough for me, and they're not doing more than what I can already get from the finish of my foundation or the finish of my blush. This highlight to me is giving me what those other items in my makeup routine can't. So one, it's actually an incredibly thin cream formula that actually lasts quite a long time for being a product like this. And I think it's just because it wants to hold on to the skin. It's not slippy. The shade Phosphene is gorgeous as well. It's this beautiful, soft, pinky peach kind of shade, but it's not like a duochrome peach pink kind of shift product. It looks very natural. So if you wanted like super glossy, I would say go with the Westman Atelier. Like this is going to give you like super dewy glossy vibes. But if you want like a soft glossy appearance to the skin and you want something that's going to last a little bit longer, I think the Rituelle de Fille is the way to go. I also like that this one doesn't remain tacky on the skin, which I know some people don't like. And what do I want to talk about next? Let's talk about my lip combo that I'm wearing. So I'm wearing the Rituelle de Fille Enchanted Lip Sheer in the shade Whitethorn. This is a beautiful peachy pink kind of shade. This formula in and of itself is really pretty because it's just a sheer stiff lipstick. So think of like the Generation G original formula from Glossier, but with what I think is just a better formula. Like, this formula feels closer to a stiff lipstick. It has a beautiful creaminess to it, but it still wants to stick to the lips. Like, it doesn't want to slip around too readily and kind of get everywhere, and just gives you that kind of blotted, pretty lip look. These are beautiful. I also have the shade Rue, which is gorgeous. Like, this shade is absolutely beautiful. No fuss kind of lipsticks. So I'm wearing Whitethorn, and then on top of it I put the Tower 28 Shine On Lip Jelly in Cashew. It's kind of faded now. So this isn't like my all-time favorite gloss product, but I have to say that I think this shade is really, really pretty, and I know a lot of people that love this gloss formula. I think this gloss formula is best for people that prefer a little bit of a thinner gloss texture. You don't want it to feel super sticky. And this does have a bit of balminess to it. It's just a little bit thinner than I would typically like. Still doesn't feel like it's gonna get outside your lip lines or anything like that. But I think this is just a really nice kind of comfortable, definitely comforting kind of lip product. So that's the combo that I'm wearing today. All right, a couple more products. So this is the mascara that I'm wearing today from Weis. It's their Impossible mascara, and I wanted to recommend this one because I just really like the kind of fluffy lash look that I get with this. I'm definitely more of a person that likes a lifted, fluffy, very natural, soft looking lash rather than a ton of volume. I'm not a huge volume person. I do like the look, so with certain looks I'll reach for something with a lot more volume, but on an everyday basis I just want a really flirty kind of lash look. This one's really pretty for just a soft, separated, natural lash look, and it's also refillable. All of Weis products are refillable. You still have this, you can just re-put the mascara right in here. I think that's really nice. Certainly more expensive for a mascara. I'm honestly like, I'm a drugstore mascara person through and through. Occasionally I find one that's a little bit more expensive that I'm like, I really like that. And then lastly, another product that I wanted to mention were these cheek products from Rituelle de Fille, the Color Nectar Pigment Balms. So I have the shade Snapdragon as well as Bee Sting. Both are gorgeous shades. Personally, my favorite shade is the shade Bee Sting. And the neighbor's dogs saw something they found interesting. The shade I'm really reaching for more often is the shade Bee Sting. And honestly, I think the formula of Bee Sting I also prefer. But either way, I think that this product is so pretty if you enjoy that kind of juicy popsicle cheek look. You just like something that looks nice and dewy and more sheer on the skin. Like, these have a more translucent base to them, which I do think looks really pretty, especially if you kind of like light makeup, you like your freckles to shine through. These are nice for like really sheer, pretty, again, more like popsicle cheeks. Does that make sense? Like, for me, that's the best way I can describe the cheek look that I get with this. For every day, I gotta be honest, I'm reaching for my Weis cream blushes, but I do think for this kind of look, these are pretty. So that is everything. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any follow-up questions, anything about any of the products that I'm talking about, I'm here. So just make sure to leave me a comment. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.